Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan Koki of the Seahawks Recap Show, and welcome to another Seahawks video. And it's basically a Seahawks news video, as we've got a lot to talk about ahead of the Seahawks Week 2 matchup when they face the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium. There's a lot to talk about in this episode. So, without me rambling on too much in the intro, let's get into the little bit of news that I have on the Seahawks. If you like this video, please consider giving it a like. It helps me know if I'm doing a good job on these videos or not. And if you'd like to see any more future content from this channel, please consider subscribing. That would be greatly appreciated. The first item on the list is the Seahawks restructured DK Metcalf's contract. Back in 2022, Metcalf signed a $72 million deal for the next 3 years. This restructured contract converts $11.875 million of the salary into a signing bonus while adding an additional 3 extra void years to the contract. In layman's terms, this contract is now being cleared up for $9.5 million in cap space for this year. Why that is significant is that that's a lot of money. $9.5 million in cap space now freed up for the Seahawks to use. Considering the amount of injuries that have gone on just this year, and Channel Nwosu being out, and now George Fant. Remember, he left the game last week with a knee issue. So this could be just cap flexibility, or this could be John Schneider and co going, okay, if we do need another right tackle, if we don't trust the guys like Stone Forsythe and like Michael Jarrell, we're gonna probably need to go out and get a free agent right tackle in the future. So I think this is great from the Seahawks, restructuring from DK Metcalf. Thank DK Metcalf for this restructure because this is really going to help the team out. It's extra cap space for them to weaponize through the remainder of this season. But let's get to the Seahawks injury report heading into week 2 versus New England. And this injury report is as of Friday, September 13th. So, outside linebacker slash edge in Cheno Nwosu, again, is out as expected with the MCL sprain. He's out 2 to 6 weeks. So, hopefully, he's back in time next week in week 3, but we'll just have to see. Another person that is going to be out for the Seahawks team is tight end Pharaoh Brown. He's out with his foot injury. And the big thing about Pharaoh Brown is I just don't know what's happening with his foot injury. He's been practicing. He practiced Wednesday for the Seahawks, but didn't practice Thursday and is now still being listed as out for his injury status. So I don't know. Like, he's a big blocking tight end for the Seahawks team. He was brought in as a blocker this season. So hopefully he can get some playing time, hopefully next week or the week after that in week 4. And we go down to the doubtful tier, and this really sucks. Running back Kenneth Walker III, he's doubtful with an oblique injury. Last week against the Broncos in the season opener, he said he was okay in a press conference. He had a little bit of issues, kind of, laboring on the oblique, and he said, I'm okay to go, I'm okay to go. But now it's found out that he might be doubtful for the New England Patriots game. And to be honest, if he is ready to go, I wouldn't even use him. I would let him sit this week regardless because we're going to need Kenneth Walker down the line. He is one of our best running backs. But I think this week, although the running game will be important this week, I hope that Zach Charbonnet and Kenny McIntosh can fill that role. And if you do absolutely need a third running back on the roster, remember the Seahawks still have George Holani to fill in at that running back 3 if they need to. And let's get to the offensive tackle, George Fant. He had a knee injury and he is doubtful for this game. And this is another big blow to that offensive line. It really sucks because that right tackle position, that's the backup. George Fant is the backup for this team. Abraham Lucas is out still dealing with his knee injury, and then George Fant obviously went down last week with his knee injury. So whether they use Stone Forsyth on that right tackle position or they use Michael Jarrell is up for debate. But again, I'm looking at this O-line situation, especially at the tackle spot, and going, this really sucks to have a guy like George Fant go down this early in the season. I wonder if he'll even play this game. He's listed as doubtful. He's not out, but I wonder if he will play this coming Sunday. But we get to questionable, and it is inside linebacker Terrell Dotson. He's questionable with a shoulder injury, and oh man, I hope he plays because this might be a game time decision. And if this is, Terrell Dotson, man, he did really well in the season opener. He's the kind of signal caller, if you want to say, for that defense, calling the plays, making sure that it's relayed to the team. He's that kind of field general, as you would say. And he really did well in the season opener versus the Broncos. So I hope he's able to play and he will be active for this game. But for right now, he's questionable with his shoulder injury. And we got the other inside linebacker, Jerome Baker. He's questionable again with his hamstring. He's been dealing with that since training camp. That hamstring has not been it's been good enough for him to play on, but he's obviously not at 100%. If either of these guys, if either of these inside linebackers do not play, this could be a really big troubling sign for this Seahawks middle linebacker core. So hopefully we'll see them on the field. And if not, Pat O'Connell and Therese Knight can step up. And for the final thing I wanted to talk about on the show today, it is the Seahawks practice squad shuffle. We've got a couple of players here being moved around on the practice squad. So let's start off with the signed players to the practice squad. Wide receiver Ty Scott has now gotten on the practice squad. He's found a spot. I'm glad to have him back. Interesting that they went with Ty Scott, considering I would have gone with Esoft Winston Jr., but I'm a little biased. I've always liked Esoft, and I think that would have been a great pickup to have on the practice squad. But good for Ty Scott for making the practice squad. And the big one here, outside linebacker slash edge, Jamie Sheriff is back on the team. Now, it's only on the practice squad, but remember, Jamie Sheriff had a terrific preseason with the Seahawks, and he got picked up by the Panthers, but was then waived as they brought in a D end, I believe, in Chris Harris, if I remember correctly. So he's back on the team. Great to see him. He's basically just depth for if another injury happens to this outside linebacker core. So good to see him back on the Seahawks. I missed him. But in order to make room on this practice squad, they need to waive somebody, and it's going to be Michael Barrett. He is waived. And man, this is curious. I was very, very curious as to why they made this decision with Michael Barrett. I don't know who else they would have had to remove, but to be honest, remember, Michael Jackson was traded to Carolina for Michael Barrett. So, seeing as he's a former Michigan linebacker, I know he's just a seventh round pick. I know he could have gone undrafted this year, but I was very surprised considering that Mike McDonald has that connection with Michael Barrett. But I hope he finds his way onto another practice squad if the Seahawks, decide that he's worth it. They could bring him back, or if not, I hope he gets on one of the other 31 NFL teams. But anyways, that is it for this episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below, how you like this video. How do you feel about the injury report that was just released on Friday? How are you feeling about the Patriots game that we're going to see on Sunday? Remember, I will have a Seahawks game recap for you guys coming out of that game either the day of or on Monday. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, Take care of yourselves. Go Hawks go. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good day.